How about when it comes to the agent, right? Because quite frankly, most of us have somebody we went to college with, a cousin, an auntie, that's a real estate agent. That doesn't mean that that's the real estate agent for us. But how do we figure that out? Is it important to look for certain types of criteria? I mean, but this is my friend, from back in the day, and I know they're going to look out for me, so I'm going to let them do the deal. But you are a agent. You all have helped a lot of people. How do we figure out this whole agent thing for us?
I'm going to say, think about your circle of friends, your family. How many real estate agents do you know? You can use one. And this can be kind of a source of contention for a lot of people. Scott and I are both agents, and you know us both. So, Talit, who are you going to pick? Well, I also know somebody else. My aunt is an agent, and my cousin's an agent. And you can only use one agent. That's what it boils down to. And way back at the beginning, we talked about how this is a hundreds of thousands of dollars purchase that you're going to make. And maybe, Talit, Scott is the one that you feel is going to do the best job for you. You can only use one agent. What I would say to all the other people is just, hey, I chose Scott because I know that he is going to help me with the process the best. And I'm sorry that I wasn't able to choose you, but he has the most experience or has done this type of purchase, or, he's worked with more first-time home buyers than any other agent that I know. And I'm sorry that I couldn't use you, but this is how I did it. And, somebody might be mad at you. And I know I don't understand agents who get mad at people who are like, oh, well, you didn't use me. I only know 97 other agents. You got to pick one. So I think you just look at what you're buying. Scott lives in Denver. He's not the best agent to help you up here in Longmont where I live. I am, frankly. And that's okay if you choose by location, or maybe everybody's in the same location. So then you've got a bit of a different one. But your cousin that got licensed last week might be the best person to help you, because she's an agent who can focus all of her attention on you. She doesn't have another job. She's not trying to wrangle kids. She can just be there for you. Or maybe it's your aunt who's been licensed for 27 years because she knows what she's doing. I think you really need to take a long, hard look at everybody that you know. And maybe you don't choose anybody that you know. Maybe you choose somebody that helped your neighbor out, and your neighbor raved about them because they were so helpful and so knowledgeable. If you don't know what you're doing, you need somebody who does to help guide you in this process, because there is a whole lot of stuff that you have no idea goes into the process of buying a house.
So one thing I want to talk about is intangibles to think about when you are in the home search process. Here's what I mean. One thing that when we were looking for the house that we're in right now, one of the things our agent said, which we kind of looked at her sideways at first, but then we realized how smart she was after we did it. She said, because she's constantly sending, based on what we said we were looking for, she would send us leads, and she would say, now, before we set up a showing, don't just go off the pictures you see, but actually drive the property, the neighborhood, to see what it looks like before you say, let's set up a showing. So there were several times where the pictures look fantastic. Then we show up, we do a drive-by, and there's a main expressway right in the backyard, which didn't show up on the pictures. Or there's a power line. There's a cell tower right behind the gate in the backyard, things that you wouldn't see in the pictures. So are there some other things like that people should consider as best practices during the home search process?
Yes, you're there to drive the neighborhood, to not only look at it and see what it looks like, what does it smell like? What does it sound like? And I would go at different times of the day, like in the evening. Are there a ton of kids out playing? Maybe that's something that you want. Maybe that's something you really don't want. whatever your criteria is your criteria. If I had done this with a house 100 years ago, I would never have moved in because the neighbors next door let their dog out in the morning, and that dog took the opportunity while he was outside to bark at every blade of grass in the yard and then look up and bark at every single leaf and then go back to the grass again until they brought him in at 10 o'clock at night. I was like, I gotta sleep. I go to bed way before you guys do. I get up later than your dumb dog does. It was so contentious living next door to them because that dog was outside barking every minute of every day. And it was not a surprise to anybody who came into the neighborhood because he was always barking. It was really, really awful. I don't want to live next door to a train. I did that once too. I should really take this advice a little more often, and I do now. But yeah, the pictures may not show the expressway in the backyard. Look at it on a map before you even drive over there, but then drive the neighborhood. Also, how long is it going to take you to get to work? That's another thing I should have done before I bought this house that was literally the farthest city west of Chicago that was still considered a Chicago suburb. It took 100 hours to get to work every single day and every single day on the way home. And that just cuts your soul in half. So another thing to look at is high wire lines, those big, big power lines. There is a contingent of people who feel that causes cancer. I am not here to discuss whether or not it causes cancer. There's people who think that. So they're not going to buy your house when you go to sell it. So when you're in the process of buying a house, don't buy a house that might be undesirable to somebody else, that will give anybody any reason to say no without even going inside. Busy streets, backing up to the expressway, very, very loud, down the street from a gas station. There's a town near us that has a big meat processing plant in the middle of town. As you can imagine, downwind from that doesn't smell pretty. So that area of town is less expensive. If you're just going there and you don't know that, you buy the house and then on meat processing day, you're like, oh God, it smells like death. It is actually smelling like death, and it's every single week. So, you want to make sure that you're in the place that you want to be in, that you're comfortable in.